There is a profound freedom in realizing that nothing truly binds you except your own mind. You are not chained to outcomes, nor are you obligated to wrestle with the illusions of control. The world hums along, an intricate dance of cause and effect, yet here you are, holding on to anxieties as if they were necessary burdens. The truth is, you do not need to strive, grasp, or struggle. You do not need to chase after a victory that already exists. The moment you detach from the idea that happiness, success, or peace are things to be achieved rather than states of being, everything shifts. You stop acting like someone desperately clawing their way to the top and start moving like one who has already arrived. There is no longer a need to prove anything to anyone because you have seen through the illusion that you were ever incomplete. The self that aches for validation dissolves into the self that simply is. Life, in its essence, is play. The moment you take the game too seriously, you suffer. The moment you believe that fulfillment exists somewhere beyond your reach, you make yourself a prisoner of time. But what happens when you let go? When you no longer grasp at the future or mourn the past, suddenly you begin to flow. You do not wait to be happy. You are happy. You do not wait to feel powerful, you are powerful. You do not wait to win, you realize that in the grand scheme, you already have. To detach is not to withdraw. It is not to become indifferent or numb to life's beauty. It is simply to understand that none of it owns you. You can dance with the moments as they come, embrace the experiences, and still remain untouched by the illusion of loss or gain. You can walk into any room, into any situation, knowing that you need nothing from it, because what is there to seek when you are already complete? The one who has already won does not beg for recognition, does not fear uncertainty, does not hesitate. They move with ease, not because they force confidence, but because they see through the illusion that they were ever lacking. And when you move like this, life moves with you. Not because you have gained control, but because you have surrendered the need for it. There is a quiet power in letting go. The world teaches us to grip tightly, to plan, to control, to shape our lives with force. We are told that if we do not take charge, everything will fall apart. But have you ever noticed that the more you try to control something, the more it seems to slip through your fingers? The tighter you hold onto an idea, a person, a situation, the more resistance you create, and yet we persist, believing that if we could just manage things perfectly, we could avoid pain, uncertainty, and failure. But life does not work this way. Life flows. It is movement, change. Life flows like life flows like snow. If you are in it, you have to feel. Think about a river. It does not struggle to reach the ocean. It does not stop to argue with the rocks in its path. It does not question whether it will make it to its destination. It simply flows. And in that flow, it carves mountains, shapes landscapes, and nourishes everything in its path. This is the nature of life. It moves, it shifts, it transforms, and the moment you try to control it, you create resistance. It is this resistance, not life itself, that causes suffering. When you try to force things to go your way, you are not flowing with reality. You are fighting against it. People spend their lives chasing things, convinced that if they can just secure the right job, the right relationship, the right amount of money, then they will be safe, they will be happy. But what happens when you finally get what you thought you needed? The mind moves the goalpost. It tells you that you need more. It tells you that you must now protect what you have gained. And just like that, you become a prisoner of your own desires. You may have what you once wanted, but you are not free. You are trapped in an endless cycle of control, fear, and attachment. True freedom begins when you stop trying to hold on to everything so tightly. When you realize that nothing is truly yours to control, you no longer fear losing anything. You move through life like the river, flowing, adapting, embracing change rather than resisting it. This does not mean that you become passive. It does not mean you stop taking action. It simply means that you let go of the illusion that you can control every outcome. Imagine standing in the ocean trying to hold back the waves with your hands. No matter how strong you are, the waves will overpower you. But what happens when you stop fighting? When you let go and allow yourself to move with the rhythm of the water? Suddenly you are not struggling, you are not exhausted, you are floating at peace, part of something larger than yourself. This is what it means to detach from the illusion of control. Most of the things you fear are not real in this moment. They are projections of the mind, worries about what might happen in the future, or regrets about what has already passed. But the future does not exist yet, and the past is nothing more than a memory. The only thing that is real is right now. Or is the problem only in the mind? When you live in the illusion of control, you suffer twice, once in reality and again in your thoughts. You spend hours, days, even years worrying about things that may never happen. You play out scenarios, trying to prepare for every possible outcome, thinking that if you anticipate everything, you can avoid pain. But life is unpredictable. No amount of planning can prepare you for every possibility. And yet, the moment you accept this uncertainty, you become free. Detachment does not mean apathy. It does not mean you stop caring about life or the people around you. It simply means that you stop clinging to the idea that you must control everything in order to be happy. It means understanding that no matter how tightly you hold on, things will change. People will come and go. Circumstances will shift. The unexpected will happen, and that is okay. In fact, that is the beauty of life. If everything were certain, if nothing ever changed, life would be stagnant, lifeless, predictable to the point of meaninglessness. It is uncertainty that makes life interesting, that keeps you growing, that allows for new possibilities to emerge. Look at nature. A tree does not panic when the wind blows. It bends, it sways, it moves with the storm rather than against it. And because of this, it does not break. But what happens to something that refuses to bend? It snaps. This is what happens when you resist life, when you cling too tightly to your own expectations. You create stress, suffering, and disappointment, because reality does not bend to your will. It never has and it never will. But when you let go, when you stop trying to control everything, you become unbreakable. You move with life, not against it. You find peace not in certainty, but in trust. Trust that whatever happens, you will handle it. Trust that you do not need to micromanage the universe. Trust that there is a rhythm to life, and that when you stop interfering, things often unfold exactly as they should. There is an immense relief in knowing that you do not have to force everything, that you do not have to spend your life in a constant state of worry, trying to hold everything together. The truth is, things were never truly in your control to begin with. And once you see that, you realize that there is nothing to fear. Detachment does not mean withdrawing from life. It means participating fully, without fear. It means showing up, doing your best, and then letting go of the outcome. It means realizing that you are not here to manipulate every detail, but to experience, to learn, to grow. It means understanding that whether things go your way or not, you will be okay. And when you live like this, something remarkable happens. You stop living in the future and start living now. You stop waiting for happiness and start feeling it. You stop fearing what could go wrong and start embracing what is. Life becomes lighter, easier, more effortless. The need for control is an illusion, a trick of the mind. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of fear, always anticipating what might happen next. But the moment you detach, the moment you stop clinging to that illusion, you become free. You move through life like the river, flowing effortlessly toward your destination, without resistance, without struggle. And in that flow, you find a peace that no amount of control could ever give you. Imagine for a moment that everything you desire is already yours. The success, the peace, the love, the fulfillment. It is not something you must chase, not something out of reach, not something reserved for the future. It exists here now. But the only thing standing between you and that reality is the belief that you must first struggle, prove yourself, and earn the right to have it. From childhood you have been taught that life is a game of achievement, that you must work tirelessly, overcome endless obstacles, and fight your way to the top. The world tells you that happiness, security, and peace are rewards that come after the battle has been won. But what if this entire premise is an illusion? What if the real key is not to struggle and grasp, but to step into the awareness that you have already won? Most people live their lives as if they are incomplete, as if they must always reach for something outside of themselves to feel whole. They wait. They wait for success to feel confident, for love to feel worthy, for external validation to believe in their own value. But this waiting creates a separation between them and the life they want to live. It places fulfillment in a distant future that never arrives, because as soon as one goal is reached, the mind invents another. The cycle is endless. The moment you shift your perspective and live as if you have already won, everything changes. You no longer move with desperation, with fear, with a sense of lack. You do not beg the world for approval because you already embody the energy of someone who has arrived. This is not arrogance. It is not pretending to be something you are not. It is recognizing that there was never anything missing in the first place. Look at those who seem to attract success effortlessly. They do not chase, they embody. They do not desperately seek validation, they radiate self-assurance. It is not because they were given something you lack, but because they have chosen to move through life as if they are already victorious. They understand that the external world is simply a mirror of their inner state. If they believe they are already enough, the world reflects that back to them. But the mind resists this idea. It wants proof. It wants guarantees. It wants to see results before it dares to believe. This is where so many people remain stuck. They say, I will believe I am successful when I see the evidence. But the truth is, the evidence appears after the belief is established. The world does not give you confirmation first. It responds to the energy you put out. When you walk as if you have already won, when you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who lacks nothing, the world reorganizes itself to match that frequency. There is an effortless quality to those who live this way. They do not force things. They do not overthink every move, hoping to control every outcome. They do it because they are already whole, and their actions are simply an extension of that wholeness. This is the paradox. The moment you stop needing something, it begins to flow to you. Not because you have stopped caring, but because you are no longer resisting. Need creates tension. It creates a sense of grasping, of chasing, of trying to control. But when you live from the place of already having, you move differently. You are at ease. You make decisions not out of fear, but from a place of clarity. You do not shrink yourself for approval, or exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth. You do not shrink yourself for approval or exhaustion and blame. Think about someone who is deeply in love. They do not second-guess every word, analyze every gesture, or worry endlessly about whether they are enough. They just are. They embody love, and in doing so they create more of it. The same applies to every aspect of life. When you embody success, success meets you. When you embody confidence, opportunities flow toward you. When you embody peace, the chaos of the world loses its grip on you. Living as if you have already won does not mean avoiding action. It does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It means acting from a place of inner certainty rather than lack. It means knowing that whether things go exactly as you planned or not, you are already whole. You are already enough. The outcome is secondary. The state of being is primary. Consider the difference between someone who is desperate for love and someone who simply radiates it. The one who is desperate chases, clings, and fears loss. They act from a place of not having, and this energy pushes love away. The one who radiates love does not need to chase. They attract effortlessly, not because they are doing something extraordinary, but because they are being. They are not waiting for someone else to complete them. They are already complete. And in that state, love finds them. The same applies to wealth, success, happiness, and fulfillment. The more you believe you are lacking, the more life reflects that lack back to you. But the moment you begin to embody the energy of already having, the external world begins to shift. It is not magic, it is simply the way life works. You receive what you are. Most people hesitate to adopt this mindset because they fear delusion. They believe that if they do not constantly remind themselves of what they lack, they will become complacent. But true embodiment of success, love, and peace does not lead to stagnation. It leads to expansion. When you know you have already won, you stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop fearing failure, because failure is no longer a threat to your identity. You move boldly, take risks, and engage with life fully because you are not seeking proof of your worth. You already own it. This is the energy of those who create, who inspire, who lead. They do not wait for permission. They do not hold themselves back, hoping that one day they will finally be ready. They step forward as if they belong, as if they deserve every good thing life has to offer. And because they believe it, life responds accordingly. If you were already the person you wish to become, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? The answer to these questions reveals the truth. You do not need to wait to feel successful, happy, or complete. You only need to embody it now. The world does not grant you permission. It mirrors back the energy you put out. Everything changes when you stop chasing and start being. When you stop acting like someone who is trying to win and start moving as if you already have. Not in arrogance, not in illusion, but in the quiet, unwavering confidence that you are already whole. You always have been. And the moment you realize this, you will see that life has been waiting for you to step into this awareness all along. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. The more desperately you try to hold onto it, the faster it escapes. But if you simply cup your hands, allowing the sand to rest freely, it remains with you. This is the nature of control. The more you try to force life into submission, the more resistance you create. But when you let go and trust, life flows in ways you could never predict. Most people live under the illusion that control brings security. They believe that if they can meticulously plan, analyze every possibility, and eliminate uncertainty, they will be safe. They strive to control relationships, careers, outcomes, anything that gives them a sense of stability. But control is exhausting. And the more one tries to manipulate reality, the more suffering they invite. Life is not meant to be gripped tightly. It is meant to be experienced, to be flowed with, to be trusted. Think of a river. If you try to fight against the current, you will struggle, depleting your energy and making little progress. But if you surrender to the flow, you will be carried effortlessly. This does not mean you have no direction. It does not mean you become passive or stop making decisions. It means that you recognize when to move and when to allow, when to take action and when to trust, when to let go of the need to control and simply exist in harmony with the unfolding of life. The obsession with control is rooted in fear. The fear of uncertainty, the fear of failure, the fear that if we do not force things into place, they will fall apart. But have you ever noticed that the greatest moments of joy, the most profound experiences, come when you least expect them? They are never the result of meticulous planning or rigid control. They come when you are present, open, receptive. The best conversations, the deepest connections, the most transformative opportunities, they happen in the spaces where control is loosened. Yet the mind resists this truth. It wants guarantees, it wants to know what will happen next. It seeks reassurance that everything will go exactly as planned. But life does not work this way, it never has. The tighter you try to control it, the more anxious, restless, and dissatisfied you become. You miss the beauty of the present moment because your focus is consumed by an imagined future you are trying to force into existence. Consider the people who seem the most at peace. They are not the ones who obsessively plan every detail of their lives. They are the ones who trust. They are the ones who understand that control is an illusion, that certainty is a myth, and that the best way to experience life is to surrender to its natural rhythm. They do not resist change, they move with it. They do not cling to outcomes, they embrace whatever unfolds. This does not mean they do nothing. It does not mean they float aimlessly through life. It means they act without attachment. They take steps, make choices, pursue goals. But they do so with a deep sense of trust rather than fear. They understand that they are part of something far greater than their individual plans and expectations. And because of this, they do not fear the unknown, they welcome it. To let go of control is to free yourself. It is to release the need to manipulate, to force, to constantly seek reassurance. It is to understand that true power does not come from controlling life, but from moving with it. You are not meant to struggle endlessly, trying to bend the world to your will. You are meant to engage with life fully, to embrace uncertainty, to trust that what is meant for you will find its way. Think of all the energy wasted on worry, on trying to predict, prevent, and control every possible outcome. What would happen if that energy was redirected into trust, into presence, into simply experiencing what is, rather than obsessing over what might be? The mind resists this shift because it fears that letting go means giving up. But it is quite the opposite. Letting go is the ultimate act of strength. It is the recognition that you do not need to hold everything together. Life is already holding itself together.